name is Muhammad Iqbal Priyatna. My student number is 122-011-233-203.
Hi, I'm Tarisha Pratha and my last student number is 187.
Hi, my name is Cindy Mauren and my last student number is 192.
Okay, then we choose the topic number 1. Hi Cindy, hi Taris.
Hi, Iqbal.
Hi, Iqbal.
What are you doing here?
We just see recent news about cases of sexual violence in Indonesia.
Yes, recently there are more and more cases of sexual violence happening.
Oh, I also just watched it last night on YouTube.
Guys, why there are more and more cases of sexual violence occurring?
I think this case is still happening because public awareness is still very low.
Do you think it's just public awareness?
I think the government role is also very important, such as making regulation on sexual violence. What do you think, Iqbal?
Sexual harassment that has been rampant for a long time is still difficult to eliminate, especially in our country, Indonesia. This is due because there is no strict government regulations to punish perpetrators of sexual harassment. Sexual harassment can happen to anyone, even there have been many cases of sexual harassment against minors. In my opinion, sexual harassment can be eradicated in many ways. For example, by legalizing regulations about sexual harassment. This needs to be done because the impact felt by victims of sexual harassment is dangerous, such as disturbing the victim's mentality and leading to suicide. How about you, Cindy?
Yes, I agree with you, Iqbal. Sexual harassment is a very common thing that we encounter this day. This case seems to have mushroomed in the community and seems difficult to eradicate. Sexual harassment is a case of sexual violence, both verbal and non-verbal, which is very detrimental to one party. Based on Komnas Data Perempuan, for the last 12 years, cases of sexual harassment in Indonesia have been increased by 792%, or can be said to be 8 times. Most victims of sexual harassment are women. Although it is undeniable that men can also be victims of sexual harassment, the rise of sexual harassment cases should be able to open our eyes that government regulation must be made this regard. Many victims of sexual harassment do not dare to tell what they have experienced because it is considered taboo and embracing. With government regulation and properly implemented, victims no longer need to be afraid to report their sexual acts, and perpetrators can be received punishment according to what they have done. This regulation can also be a concern for the general public to be more careful in their action. And what about you, Taris?
Okay, Cindy. I think sexual harassment is any act related to unwanted sexual activity, including requests for sex and other behavior that lead to sex, either verbally or physically. We all agree that sexual harassment is not an act that can be tolerated because it has a huge impact on the victim, both psychological and physically. There are a number of reasons why some victims do not report sexual harassment. If it happens to them, the reason include for fear of loss, fear of violence or abuse by the abuser, and fear of having to undergo a formal investigation process with an unsympathetic employer. Of the many cases that have occurred, sexual harassment often does not get the right treatment. Weak handling of cases that occur can cause the victim reluctance not to report the case. Um, Therefore, it can be concluded that if there are only regulation but no action, then it is just as useless. We must focus on handling action first. In my opinion, legalizing regulation can be in vain if it is not balanced with the right action. That's all from me.
Okay, I agree with your opinion, Taris, but I have a question. What kind of action that should we do in order to reduce cases of sexual harassment?
What What we must do if sexual harassment occurs is first understand the form of sexual harassment, and then be firm and don't think it's all your fault. You can also record what has happened and then talk to someone you trust, and definitely reporting to the authorities to solve the problem.
Anyway, Iqbal, I also have question for you. I agree with your opinion, and based on your opinion that the government should make a strict regulation about it, can you give some ideas about the regulation?
Okay, I think the government should give severe punishment so that the perpetrators will regret their actions.
Anyway, Cindy, I have some question for you. In your opinion, what can be done when there are victims of sexual harassment who do not dare to tell their case, and how do you provide assistance to victims?
Okay, Taris, thank you for your question. To dare to talk about the violence that we have experienced is certainly not easy because it is still considered very taboo and embracing. But the existence of government regulation and regulate this is certainly very helpful for victims to be more courage. And we also often meet many communities who care about this. And we can also use it to discuss through the community that concerned about that things. I think that's all. Anyway, Iqbal, I have to go now. Maybe we can discuss about this topic later. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you, Cindy. Thank you, Taris. Bye.